Ajnanam timirandasya jnananjana salakaya chaksurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. I offer my humble obeisances in the lotus feet of my Diksha Guru Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, my Shiksha Guru Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, to all of our Guru Varga, all the assembled devotees and guests. Welcome to Vedic Tales Q&A. Are there any Qs or questions? It's taking a long time. Okay, no questions? Okay, we'll end the program here. Thank you, folks. Hare Krishna.
The question is coming. Well, why should we worship? Krishna is one. Krishna is basically Krishna is everything. Why do we worship? Why don't we just worship him? Why also is there Radharani? Why is there Rukmini?
So if Krishna is one, the question is, one without a second, why don't we worship him only? Why worship Radharani? Why worship Rukmini? So the Krishna conscious science is a great science. Krishna means Krishna and his associates. Srila Prabhupada made a very interesting statement in that regard. When we hear the king is coming, the king is never coming alone. He's always with his associates, his ministers, his guards. So Krishna means Krishna and Radharani, Krishna and the gopis, Krishna and his parents, Krishna and his coward boys, Krishna and his incarnations, in that way. Also, when we say Sri Krishna, Sri, you could say, means the all-beautiful Krishna, Krishna with 6 opulences. But the embodiment of his Sri, the embodiment of his 6 opulences, is Srimati Radhika. She is, it's stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, she is the personification of all of his opulences. His wealth, his strength, his beauty, his knowledge, his fame, his renunciation, all these are embodied in Srimati Radhika. In fact, Krishna prefers when one worships Srimati Radhika, having heard about her from the bona fide disciplic succession coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his representative, Srila Rupa Goswami. Does that sufficiently answer the question? Krishna doesn't just stand in outer space. Krishna is engaged in pastimes. So pastimes means his associates are involved. So we hear that because Krishna is everywhere, all-pervading at all times, so everywhere at all times, the living entity brings his existence into fulfillment by glorifying him. Glorifying him means glorifying his pastimes, his fame, his knowledge, his qualities, and all of those things involve all of his associates.
I'm not so Do you believe that Kalki Avatar will come to Earth to destroy Kalashura?
The question is, do I believe that Kalki, Krishna's incarnation of total destruction, who comes at the end of Kali Yuga, this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, will be coming to destroy all the demons? Is that the question? Okay, so what I believe and what I don't believe is quite irrelevant. What I accept is the version of Shastra, of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas, of Shastra Vakya, Guru Vakya, and Sadhu Vakya. So according to these three, although Kalki comes at the end of every Kali Yuga with his sword and axe and destroys all the demons, all the gross materialists, and thus ushers in another Satya Yuga, the age of goodness, wherein everyone lives for 100,000 years in peace and prosperity and purity, unlike this Kali Yuga, where 100 years is generally the most. And as Kali Yuga progresses, if somebody's 30 years old, he'll be considered as a ripe old man. So these are all statements from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now it's stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam that the Lord is called Tri Yuga. That means he comes in 3 yugas of this particular cycle of yugas that we're in now. He's called Tri Yuga, which means he comes in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwarpa Yuga. But he doesn't come in Kali Yuga. How does he come in Kali Yuga? He comes as the covered incarnation, and that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya, because of the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who includes all the incarnations in his body, just as Krishna has all the incarnation in his body, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. So he's called the covered avatar, because Krishna does come in this age of Kali, but not as Kalki. He comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to bless the age, and thus this age is called Dhanya Kali. In the Kirtan by Srila Rupa Goswami, this Kali Yuga is called Dhanya Kali, or the Blessed Kali, where because of the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kali will not be coming.
Do I need a guru in order to become Krishna conscious?
Okay.
Chant and watch videos.
I'm sorry?
I chant and watch videos.
So the question is, do I need a guru to become Krishna conscious? Or can I just chant and watch videos? Very interesting question. If I'm chanting and watching videos, I'll eventually hear from the video or realize in my chanting, if I'm chanting sincerely, that Gurum Eva Mabiga Chet. It's essential to take a bona fide guru. Guru Mukha Padma Vaikya Chite Te Korya Aikya. It's stated by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, the prayer, may my words merge in adherence to the words of the pure devotee, to Sri Guru. Tasmad Guru Prabhadye Tat Jigyasu, like that. Anyone who's inquisitive, Jigyasu, to know about the absolute truth, he must accept a bona fide guru. And what are the symptoms of the bona fide guru? In that same verse, he must be realized in the Vedic knowledge. That means experienced, not only speaking, but experienced. My Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, gave an analogy of his own life, that before he ever came to India, before 1965, he was reading that in America it snows. But then when he came to New York, he actually experienced the knee-deep snows. So that's realization. So the Guru is realized in all the Vedic knowledge. He's detached from all material desires and all material anxieties. Everything he does is for the pleasure of the Lord. So without Guru, my imperfect senses and mind will misinterpret scripture, and I will never reach the fulfillment of chanting, because initiation is required for the guru, the bona fide self-realized guru, to put in the heart of the new disciple the seed of prema bhakti by his chanting. And by that, the sincere disciple can go from offenses to the holy name, namaparad, to the cleansing stage, that is namabhas, and then to the completely pure stage of shuddhanam, or prema bhakti, the seed of which is put into the heart of the disciple, and then the field is plowed for the growth of the creeper of bhakti. Now the difficulty is that because there's been so many cheating gurus, so many people have a tendency to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, then no guru. I can do it myself. Or only Prabhupada is guru. There was never one before, there'll never be one after. Let's become Ritviks. This is a philosophy of frustration due to painful experience of seeing many gurus falling down, absconding with money, absconding with women, and things like that. But again, that is throwing the baby out with the bath water, because since the time immemorial, there's always been a disciplic succession of pure gurus. In the Bhagavad Parampara, coming from Goloka Vrindavan, why would it totally stop? Since the beginning of time, Brahma, Madhva, Vyas, Narada, down to Madhavendra Puri, down to Mahaprabhu, the 6 Goswamis, why all of a sudden would the Goloka Vrindavan become bereft of qualified associates of the Lord to descend to this world? And it's a fact that everyone in the disciplic succession of pure devotees, they all did meet face to face. Although Vyasadeva appeared very much before Madhvacharya, still Vyasadeva being a incarnation of the Lord and an empowered being, he did appear before Madhva, in front of Madhva. Even Brahma, who's the first created being, he met Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. The Lord appeared to him and they even shook hands. So there's never been a time when the guru wasn't available for the next bona fide disciple. Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, wrote in a letter to one of my godbrothers that to not have a bona fide guru is just like trying to sail a boat without a rudder. The boat doesn't really go to any destination.
Hare Krishna. Today there was a post today on Vedic Tales about the conception of being a maidservant followed by the Goswami's Harkiras.
I'm sorry? There was a post on Vedic Tales about the conception of becoming a maidservant of Srimati Radhika.
Yeah. But Prabhupada was strongly against it, as he said that we shouldn't imitate the Bhava of the gopis.
But Prabhupada was against this. Against what? That we shouldn't imitate a bhav of the gopis. Yes, there's a very easy reconciliation of that. And Prabhupada is always in accord with his Guru Varga, his disciplic succession of self-realized gurus. And that is, don't imitate. What is that called? One is called following in the footsteps of, and one is called, I forget the names. Doesn't come to me now. But one means to imitate, that is in a premature, immature state, where I'm barely at the stage of Shraddha. I'm trying to imitate the activities of one in Rati or Bhava Bhakti and pretend that I'm a gopi, and then I just get involved with lust and fall down. But the actual process given by our acharyas is to follow in the footsteps of the gopis.
That's what you sent out on your group list.
What?
That's what you sent out on your group list.
Oh, that I see. This devotee is speaking about what I just sent out on my WhatsApp list of following, of ultimate.
Yes.
We need to know our goal. Our ultimate goal of life is, if we're in the disciplic succession from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Rupa Goswami, then our ultimate goal of life is to become a maid servant of Srimati Radhika.
And to further that, there's a letter between you and Prabhupada in 1976 when you're telling Prabhupada about Radha and Gopi Bhava.
Yes, and then there's a letter between
You and
me.
Prabhupada.
I wrote to Prabhupada.
Radha Vallabha, or you were just speaking. No, you didn't write to Prabhupada. You're speaking that Radha Vallabha told Prabhupada.
Yes, in 1976, my godbrother Radha Vallabha was speaking to Prabhupada. This was in, I believe, June of 76, because I was there too, and it was in Los Angeles. Actually, in my, excuse me for the advertisement, in my memoir book called The Art of Spiritual Life, which you can acquire just by ordering it from theartofspirituallife.com.
If you're in India, write to Vasanti.
Or if you're in India, write to Vasanti Dasi on Facebook or Instagram, right? And she'll arrange to send it to you. There, I discuss in length that pastime of Srila Prabhupada's. So what was happening was some of his disciples were following the Radha Kund Sahajiya Babajis, who were promoting imitation. And in that imitation of the gopis, thinking, I am now a gopi. In fact, they weren't even practicing the right kind of gopi, because for the conditioned soul, no one can attain a service like Lalita, Vishaka, Radharani, Chitra, Champakalata, as Swatantra gopis, or gopis who have a direct amorous relationship with Krishna. But, as taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all of his Goswamis, the pinnacle of devotion for the conditioned soul, and all the highest that he can digest, is Manjari Bhav, or to become the maidservant of Srimati Radhika, who desire no personal contact with Krishna at all, but rather have their pleasure in arranging the meetings of Radha and Krishna. Nikunja Jurno Rati Keli Siddhai Jajalevi Jaktira Pekshaniyan Tatrati Daksha Dati Balabhasya Pande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. The bona fide spiritual master is always engaged in assisting the gopis in arranging for the amorous pastimes of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, and thus they are very much pleased with her. But again, even that service can't be imitated in our immature stage. It's the goal of life, but how to get there is by following in the footsteps of those gopis as they appear as sadhaks in the disciplic succession from Rupa Goswami, like Narottam Das Thakur, Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur, Baladev Bijabhusan Prabhu, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and his bona fide disciples, like Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Dwait Madhav Goswami Maharaj, and their bona fide self-realized disciples as well. So there's certain processes, like engaging in the activities of Vaidhi Bhakti, but with the aim of entering into Raganuga Bhakti, understanding from Hari Guru and Vaishnavas what is Raganuga Bhakti, what is Vaidhi Bhakti, what is Ragatmika Bhakti, what is Rupanuga Bhakti. This is a great science, and it takes some time, and there are many books dealing with this. And if you'd like to order any, you can go to purebhakti.com, and you can also write to Vasanti Dasi. And there's a really very wonderful offer that she's coordinating called Gaudiya Vedanta Publications GVP Sponsorship, which now is offering online to the world any number of these books for any donation. The books of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, who is a spiritual successor of our Srila Prabhupada. So there's a process to get there, but that is the goal. Without knowing the goal, just like the coordinator of Vedic Tales, he likes to remain anonymous, but I like to glorify him. Rati Manjari Das is coordinator of Vedic Tales, and he's visiting me right now, and we're conducting this Q&A. I forgot why I mentioned his name. Because, right, so he came to this house, and if he didn't know where he was going in the first place, like what the address was, how could he have put it in the GPS and been directed here? When he left his house, we're both in Delhi, but different parts of Delhi. When he left his house in his car, he wouldn't have known even the first turn to take, right or left, if he didn't know the ultimate goal of life. So knowing the goal, hearing about the goal from bona fide sources, and then taking the step-by-step process to get there is the way of life in the material world and in the spiritual world. Does that satisfactorily answer the question?
So I'll wait for this Prabhu to reply. That's the end of one last nice sweet question.
One last one? That's all?
It's almost 12. How can we know if our actions please the Lord or if it's for our own desires?
That's an interesting question too. How do we know if our actions are pleasing to the Lord? That's another good reason to have a bona fide guru. He can tell you. Just by going by videos and reading books, who's going to pull my ear and tell me that I did something that's against my bhakti? In Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur's Sharanagati verse and prayers, it's stated that the first two symptoms of Sharanagati, or surrender to the Lord, is to accept everything favorable and to reject everything unfavorable for the Lord's service. How do I know? One thing is I can have a bona fide guru who I can ask. One thing is I can ask senior devotees who are on the proper path, who are really senior devotees and not just by years or name only. And when somebody asked our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta, Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, he said, "You'll be happy. Jainatma supersediti. Your soul will be genuinely happy. You won't have anxieties. You won't criticize anyone. You won't have material ambitions." So many things like that. Final question coming up.
I have to look at the chat. I did see someone asking the difference between Shiva and Krishna. I don't know exactly what they wrote. But if you can maybe just share about Lord Shiva's position.
Somebody is asking something like,
Which I guess you can just share about the position of Lord Shiva.
what is the difference or what is the relationship between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna? Now that is an ecstatic subject matter. You can read the entirety of the answer by getting the book, either downloading it from purebhakti.com or writing to Vasanti and finding out where the closest place to your home where you could pick up the physical book. Depending what, I guess most of you are in India. So this book is called Shiva Tattva, or you could just download the whole app called Bhakti Base app and get for $2, isn't that amazing? 55 books of Srila Gurudev, which include a search function. So one of the books is called Shiva Tattva, which is a series of 4 lectures given by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, explaining the relationship, the beautiful relationship of Shiva and Krishna. Shiva is, you could say it's stated in Brahma Samhita with the authority of Lord Brahma, and with the commentaries of Srila Jiva Goswami, that if you take milk and by some chemical manipulation, you can make that into curd or yogurt, right? So milk can become yogurt, but yogurt cannot become milk. So Lord Krishna manifests as his devotee and guna avatar, Lord Shiva. And whereas Krishna in his expansion as Mahavishnu glances over the material nature, the dim reflection of his glance is Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva directly communes with the material nature, or Durga. So therefore we get the Shiva Linga sitting on that plate, which represents Durga, or the expansion of Rama, or the material nature. Lord Shiva assists with the creation of the cosmic manifestation. He assists the Lord with destruction, as he does a dance for 36,000 years of flood. Natavara, and 36,000 years of fire, all under the direction of Sri Krishna. There are pastimes, actually some of these pastimes are in that Shiva Tattva book, when Lord Shiva is Tripurari, Tripur, where there were 3 cities, flying cities of the demons, Ari, enemy, where Lord Shiva destroyed the 3 demoniac cities by being given the weapons and the knowledge by Sri Krishna. It's a beautiful pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam. And so many other things could be said about Shiva and Krishna. Hari Hara. Lord Shiva and Krishna are one, meaning that they're very intimately connected, one at heart. Okay, I guess we'll end here. How much time was that today?
Almost 30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay. Well, thank you very much. And we look forward to connect with you tomorrow on the Vedic Tales Instructive Pastimes program. Thank you. Panchakalpatarubhyastra kripasindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Is it off?